Oh, oh, where are you going? Hey, listen, if I'm going to take the time to teach you how to do all this stuff, then you get your butt back out in that garage. And then you smash the subscribe and like button because I'm an awesome guy and I like to give free information. So you should do me a favor. But don't be walking away. We got things to learn today and to fix. So you better go grab your tools and get out in that garage right now. Right now. What are you waiting for? Go. Jeez. What's going on, guys? Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Consider joining my membership program. It definitely helps. Even if it's $1 or $2 that we get from that, we put that towards every project that I purchase to try to make free content for everybody else. Essentially, you're just helping us help everyone. It's pretty much what happens. So there you go. Anyways, I wanted to talk about our 700-mile trip in 2 days that we took on my Honda Silverwing, my 2010 Honda Silverwing. There were some things I wanted to discuss. I think this is going to be kind of my ways out of pros and cons. I intentionally took it on a very long trip within 2 days to see how much it would beat me up, how I would feel afterwards, and I think I have a very good explanation at this point of how the trip went and what I expected versus what I got. So let's dig a little bit into this. Gas mileage with 2-up riding. Side packs were filled. Under the seat was filled. I had a whole bunch of tools. We had a lot of weight on this thing. And I was averaging around 180 miles per tank, riding at 65 miles an hour on the way there. Now, I chose 65 because I felt like that was a good, proper cruising speed. It wasn't going to push the machine too hard. It was our first long trip on it. We were putting 350 miles on it in the first day. That's a lot of miles on a scooter. We chose to pull over and stop every hour. Okay, so every 65 miles, we would stop, take a 15-minute break, lay down, stretch a little bit, get back on the road. Now, let's talk about some of the things I noticed. Number one, this windshield does phenomenal. The stock windshield that's on this is great. I get a little bit of wind, but not too much. It is fantastic, especially if you're traveling at 60, 65 miles an hour. It does a great job with the wind and everything going on around you. The downside to that is because this scooter is more narrow than let's say a Suzuki Bergman 400, which is still wider, smaller scooter, but wider, or a Bergman 650, these get wind buffeted pretty bad by semi-trucks and large trucks with trailers. I noticed that every time a semi-truck went around us, the backdraft that was coming off of them and the wind would definitely teeter-totter us back and forth. So there's some huge buffeting going on. So if you're going to be riding around big semi-trucks, trailers, trucks moving much faster than you, I mean, they would kind of blow past us. You know, they obviously have somewhere to be with their load. We took the outside lane most of the way there. We were definitely getting blown around. The other side of that is the crosswinds that were coming. We left on a non-windy day. Halfway through our trip there, it got very windy as we neared the top end of the state. And we were getting 15 to 20 mile an hour gusts, and that was heavily affecting us. You know, for a 540-pound scooter, a 200-pound guy, 150-pound girlfriend, there was close to 1,000 pounds easily on this machine. I feel like we shouldn't have been getting blown around that much. I'm not sure that this is the stablest of machines. That low center of gravity is wonderful, but I feel like it becomes a large wind barge, and I never noticed that with my 400 or my 650. Neither of those were that hindered by crosswinds. I don't understand why this one is so affected by them. The side packs did great. If you guys are wondering, those side packs did great. We were averaging around 40 miles to the gallon, 4.2 mile tank. So we were getting around 160 to 180 miles. However, we stopped every 65 miles and put gas in the tank. So that was about 1.5 gallons down every time we would stop, around 1.5 gallons. I think a little under 1.5 gallons, not by much though. So yeah, it's pretty close to that mark of being 40 miles to the gallon. Let's see here. What else did I want to talk about? Brakes did great. The belt, as we got as we got more up into the mountainy stuff, like when we started getting to the end of Florida, it started getting more hilly. I was having to transition my speed quite a bit to deal with truckers. And we would be going up pretty steep inclines. And I think by the time we got there, after I had to rip around a bunch of trucks going from 70 to 80, back down to 70, back up to 80, 65, 80, the clutch was a bit hot by the time we rolled in. So I'm not sure that this is the best setup for mountain stuff. But then once again, I have to look at this from an aspect of we wanted to put a ton of miles on it. Had that trip been, let's say, a local trip up through the mountains and stuff, I think the scooter would have handled it just fine. But after all day riding it with my butt on the seat for around 6 hours, to get that 350 miles in, it was a little hot by the time we arrived. You could tell because the clutch was groaning. And then I woke up the next day, cranked it up, took it for a ride. The groaning was gone. All of those issues were gone. So clearly we got the clutch a little bit hot. It was either the variator or the clutch got a little bit hot from dealing, that long ride there. And then nearing the end of the trip, it was all up and down and, still having to maintain 70 to do it. So it did put a little wear and tear on the machine, and it definitely had a little complaining once we got into the big hilly stuff after an all-day riding session, but it still functioned phenomenal. The seat on this thing is stupid comfortable. I never had a hurting butt one time. Not once. Every time we rode it for an hour and we got off, I didn't stand up and go, oh, my butt. Oh, my God. Oh, it's too much. I didn't even end up with a sweaty seat, which is crazy because most of the trip it was like 87 degrees, almost 90 degrees. So give it to Honda. The seat on this thing, stupid comfortable. Me and my girlfriend came back very, very comfortable. No sore butt, no getting off of it, sore butt, none of the above. It was great. High RPM vibrations. If you're going to maintain 65, the vibrations are a little bit lower. Once you get up to 70, you start feeling some of the floorboard vibrate. Things like that. You're pushing the machine pretty hard now. But it can handle 70 miles an hour all day without issue. It could probably handle 80. I feel like that would be pushing your machine pretty hard to run it at 80 all day. But 65, 70 seems to be the sweet spot. This thing likes it. If you're doing an all-day riding session, you may want to give it a little bit longer than 15-minute breaks, especially if you're putting that kind of mileage on it. You may want to give it like a half-hour break every hour of riding if you're going to do an all-day riding session, especially once you get up into mountains and hills and things like that. I think the system was being taxed a little bit by us. But on the way back, it was pretty much all downhill stuff. So by the time I got back, clutch wasn't complaining. It was just a happy scooter. So just that initial getting there and getting up into the hilly, mountainy stuff, it didn't really seem to like that after an all-day riding session. So lights are great on this thing. They worked perfectly fine. Brakes are good. So just the wind buffeting and a little bit of a hot clutch I was dealing with. So I had to take that into consideration. Hold on one sec, guys. I'm making a video right now, my man. All right? I'm going to be at this for a little while. I'm just letting you know. This is going to be a pretty long video. So the GPS on this thing worked great. The autoplay system, fantastic. Doesn't feel like it's in my face. Did a great job. Stayed plugged into my phone the whole time. Everything was wonderful. Tires did good. No issues there. It is definitely a more than capable touring ride all day. Me and my girlfriend came back happy. Like, we didn't feel taxed after putting 700 miles on this thing in 2 days. We felt a little bit, wind buffeted, I should say, a little windswept from riding it that much over a 2-day period. I mean, that's 12 hours on the seat. 700 miles is 12 hours on the seat, roughly. It was a very long trip. We went all the way from like almost kind of panhandle of Florida all the way up and over to here by Pensacola. It was a very long trip. But neither of us felt exhausted. And that's what I wanted to touch on, is that was the whole point of that trip, was to have fun, figure out whether we could tolerate it and for longer trips and how it would function on those long trips. And I did not have any problems outside of the little bit of wind buffering. So next time I ride on the highway, I know just to try to steer clear of trucks and trailers as much as possible. If that means I need to run a little higher speed to stay ahead of them, then I will. These are all things I can calculate for now because I had that first trip under my belt. And all the way back, we ran 70 miles an hour all the way back. Didn't affect the system at all. Still getting roughly almost the same gas mileage. I was probably getting around 38 miles to the gallon at that point, but still, I mean, it did great. We had a phenomenal ride out there, a phenomenal ride back. I took it to work this morning. The only thing I had to deal with when I came back was old plugs. They had 17,000 miles on them. I just changed the plugs yesterday. I had a little putting going on, but that's maintenance. So nothing. That's nothing. But this is fantastic. If you're thinking about touring on a scooter, this has plenty of performance, plenty of power, 600 cc's, 51 horsepower. It is great for two-up riding, can handle the weight load, and it's just a very comfortable ride. It really is. There's no other way for me to say that. It's a very comfortable ride. As long as you set it up for touring. I had my cup holder, my display up here, my cell phone plug-in, all of that stuff, my music and my headphones. We could make calls back and forth to each other if we needed to through our audio pieces. It was just a great ride. I did not ever find myself not enjoying it. At any point in time was it not fun. So pros, this thing's awesome. Cons, a little bit buffeted by the wind. Doesn't really handle heavy windy days with cross breezes. You're going to get blown around. You're going to feel those things. But outside of that, if those are my only two complaints, then that is so minimal on the Richter scale of how my enjoyment factor was. Okay, I've had a lot of maxi class scooters. My 650 Bergman was great. It suffered from some stuff that I wasn't happy about. My 400 was great, little underpowered for a trip like that. So once again, I decided to crank it up to a 600. This is my first Silverwing. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. It is a fantastic, phenomenal ride. If you're thinking about getting one of these, I suggest you do it. These have an engine capable of 250,000 miles. This just crossed over 17,000 miles. It's in its infancy. This machine hasn't even been broken in yet at all, even close to its break-in point. And it's 15 years old. Okay? So it's phenomenal. It looks great. It runs great. It has no issues. There's no more leaks. I had to deal with a few things before we left. New belt. It was all maintenance stuff that somebody else hadn't done. And an issue with the gas tank where it had a puncture mark in it on the top end of the tank, and I solved all that. New brake pads, new belt, new oil, new fluids across the board, everything. I mean, this thing, I gave it a complete tune-up. Plugs, all of it. And it's running great. It's fantastic. If you were thinking about buying one of these, I would buy this over the 650 Bergman any day. And if you haven't seen my why I won't buy a 650 Bergman and I chose a 400 video, I would suggest watching that before you purchase a 650 Bergman, Suzuki Bergman. I would get the Suzuki 400 before I ever purchased the 650 Bergman. It's a great machine, but it has its flaws. I talk about that in that video. I'll put that in the description below for you guys. But this thing may not have all the cool sport mode features and all that stuff, but it has plenty of torque and power without the need for all of that the Bergman offers, the Bergman 600, 650. It doesn't need any of that. This is a great machine as it is. Handled the all-day riding, fantastic. Has no problems. Even if I needed to jump up in front of a bunch of cars that were going 90 on the freeway, this thing just makes steam. You're right in front of everybody again at 100 miles an hour, back over into the far lane, around all the trucks, and then back to your cruising speed. It has the ability to pass cars even at high speed. So I would not second guess myself on this purchase. I'm very happy with it. Whether you're a young rider, an older rider, this thing is great. It is great. I am going to, in the future, be looking for lumbar support for this because I feel like I could really use it, and she could probably use maybe a trunk on the back, and then we can get rid of our side stuff so that we don't have to have all that extra drag. I think that would probably suit us a bit better, but right now our setup works. I'm happy. She's happy. I don't know if I want to do another 350-mile ride in one day, maybe 150 miles and break the trip up a little bit more. But that was just the test. I wanted to see if our bodies and this machine could handle 2 days of a stress test, both of us, whether we were going to find it comfortable enough or not. And I have to say, it did well. We did well. I'm happy. It was a great time. I hope this video helps you guys. If you have further questions, I've pretty much ridden every maxi class scooter under the sun. Post it below. Ask your question. If I can answer it, I will. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Toodles.